Hey guys, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So, just wanted to say a few things first. Sorry I've been absent. I was working through some personal things, some personal issues, focusing on myself a little bit, getting myself a little bit rebalanced, healthy, all that good stuff. So I'm back, ready to do pick-a-cards, and I have a very interesting pick-a-card here today. We're going to be doing what the perfect day in the springtime will be for you. So springtime's here, the plants are blooming, the gray skies are falling away. But basically what I wanted to do is basically talk about, there's so many days and people do a lot of, readings basically about like what's coming in April or what's coming in May. So basically, this is going to be what your perfect, one of the days in springtime, but what will your perfect day be like? So you're going to have one of these days in springtime. It could be April 12th or April 23rd or May 15th or even like as late as June 9th. We haven't really hit the summer solstice yet, so I still count that as spring. So basically it's going to be, what will your perfect day be like? We're not really quite sure when it's going to happen, but we'll know what's going to happen on that perfect day. So it's going to give you something to look forward to if you've been feeling a little down in the dumps or just want to know about something happy coming your way. This is going to be your perfect day this spring. So we have three crystals before us, three groups before us. So our first group is Spirit Quartz. This is for group number 1. Our second group is Azurite. This is for group number 2. And our third group is going to be Black Tourmaline. This is for group number 3. So take all the time you need to pick your crystal. You can pause the video here if you need to. I'll give a quick second for that. But after that, we're going to move on to group number 1 with the Ametrine. All right, moving on with group number 1, the Ametrine. Hey you guys, if you picked group number 1 with the Ametrine, this reading is for you. So I'm going to be using some different card decks than I've normally used. They're older decks of mine, but still good nonetheless. And we'll get into the reading right now. So we're going to be doing some shuffling on camera today. So first let's draw your tarot cards. This one already came out. Another one. Third. And I'll take the top one of that one that just flipped out right there. The camera, let me make sure I didn't And then I have these Making Magic Oracle cards by Priestess Moon. These are pretty cool. This is going to give us a little bit of sign of kind of what's the magical aspect of your perfect day. Why, Okay, so we have to take those 2 top ones. And then we have one more, which is going to be kind of the general theme of what's happening for this perfect day, or kind of, you can think of this as the catalyst even. I'm going to read it a little bit different in each of the groups probably. Okay, let me set this all up. Okay, let's take a look at what you guys got. King of Pentacles in reverse. We have Water and Felix Felictus. Knight of Swords, the Emperor and Temperance. Oh, sorry, I just realized there's like a lawnmower outside. I'm gonna shut my windows. I have them open right now, and then I'm gonna do your guys' reading. That way we get the sound a little bit quieter. Okay, I'm back. Let me take a look at this. Oh, that's great. This interaction right here and a little bit of this is good. Okay, so your perfect day has like a good amount of stuff in it for the most part. Let's get into what kind of starts off the perfect day, or kind of the catalyst for this perfect day. So we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So before this perfect day happens, kind of leading up to what this perfect day, sometimes things have to wind a little bit backwards before they can wind forwards. And so something that happens is you might notice a little bit of shortfalls in your financial situation. That's something that's leading up to your perfect day. So something that you might have been dealing with is kind of like lacking abundance. And also there's an aspect of not being so philanthropic, like not giving too much of your time and resources to others, and kind of keeping all your kind of wealth to yourself. So you might not necessarily be losing wealth, but you're not necessarily sharing it with others. So the flow of abundance, or you might not be spending your money too easily. So you'll kind of know when your perfect day is coming up, because you'll be a little bit tighter with your finances, a little bit more budget conscious, and you'll be saving for a rainy day. I'm trying to imply that this is going to be painful. You know, it's going to come kind of quite naturally. Like you're going to kind of feel like, all right, I'm just going to kind of have to save up. You're going to feel this sense before this perfect day happens of kind of saving your finances, your resources. Maybe you make a little bit less purchases when you're shopping, or maybe, I buy crystals. So maybe you're like not buying as many crystals as you normally do. That's an example that relates to me. Yeah, so that's kind of what's leading up to your perfect day. And then the catalyst of your perfect day, interestingly enough, is as you're starting off this perfect day with kind of like this whole aspect of cleansing the past. Like we have the Knight of Swords here, and he's running straight into the past of this reading. This reading is in a way is kind of being read chronologically, at least this one card. And this pointing to the left is kind of like pointing back to the past, right? And water, working with the element of water for healing, purification, and refinement. You're gonna feel, this is interesting because this whole perfect day is catalyzed with a shower, right? So, or a bath, or however you cleanse yourself or wash yourself in the beginning of the day. Basically, it's really recommended on this perfect day, and kind of like as you're coming up to this day, as you're starting to notice you're being a little bit more frugal with your finances and things of that nature, to start taking showers in the beginning of the day and kind of start your day off fresh with the shower. That's going to kind of catalyze with this perfect day, because really what happens is you're washing away all the debris and all the energy from the previous day, and starting the day with a fresh start, so you can really feel the energies of this perfect day when it comes. And the Knight of Swords just represents like this, in this particular case, it represents kind of looking into the past and kind of tackling the past problems with kind of like this aggression, right? It's almost like a weight's going to be lifted off your shoulders in the very beginning of the day when you're going through this cleansing process. So when you're showering, or when you are taking a bath, or getting ready, or even brushing your teeth, or however you start to prepare yourself for the beginning of the day, you're going to be kind of like, as you're preparing yourself and getting ready for the day, kind of that process of getting prepared for what the day events are going to bring is going to make you feel less anxious, have less anxiety. It's going to wash away a lot of these past issues and past hurts that have been bothering you, or like if you have any kind of wounds you've been holding on to, or if you're the type of person that kind of holds on to things in the past, or you kind of look to the past and remember or regret, or even kind of reminisce about things that kind of came before that maybe you didn't like so much. You think about like, oh, I could have done that differently or done that better. This is kind of being purged really quickly with the Knight of Swords. Like as soon as you take this shower, it's going to be purged, and you'll notice throughout your day, you're going to have this lighter effect. Like you're not worried about the past so much throughout this day. You're not worried about kind of like the problems you've made throughout the day, any regrets that you've made. It's kind of like a day focused on possibilities in the future and kind of like openness to new things. And then we see right here with the King of Wands upright, this is going to be a day where interestingly enough, we have the Knight of Swords, the King of Wands, and we have a couple court cards here. So first of all, I want to mention that this is going to be a day filled with a lot of people. This is going to be a very social day. So it's going to be a day where you're like, talking to different people, moving around, going to different places, and you're just kind of like communicating with everyone. And we also have Felix Felicitas, I think, power symbol to create lucky serendipitous events. So everything will just be falling into place. Everything will feel very lucky. You might even feel like you want to spend a little bit of money, but oddly enough, you might spend $5 on like, say, a sandwich or something, and then like later find $20 in the street. Like, it's just going to be the luckiest day. You might notice other things happen, like your coordination improving. You might notice, what else could happen on a lucky day? You could just notice that maybe when you go certain places, you start to run into like your favorite people, or you're running into people that you knew, like that kind of bring you that joy, and then different events you'll see line up. Like you'll see yourself do something and then it triggers another event, and then maybe later in the day you find out that that event caused this and it brings you more luck. So that's really great. You have this lucky attitude. And with King of Wands, this is a very like entrepreneurial type energy. The King of Wands traditionally is very like entrepreneurial. And what I see with this day is just kind of like being more business and go-getter in this day. It's almost like there could be an aspect with the Emperor here representing kind of like a boss or authority figure. This perfect day could be you getting a job. For some of you, it could be the fact that like you've been applying, or you've been moving around, you're getting a job. It could also imply that you're moving up in a position in work where you're going to become more of a manager position rather than a subordinate role. You're going to become more of a leader. We see that here with the Emperor and the King of Wands. So you might be moving up into a leadership position. Little certain circumstances in the day might have like triggered this to happen. And then we also have Temperance here, which just represents that like your diet is going to be on point. So it's kind of like you're just going to feel balanced throughout the day. You're not going to have any weird cravings for kind of like food that's bad for you, or like if you have like any kind of thing where you like, maybe you drink too much, or maybe you eat too much candy, like you're not going to have those cravings for candy or drinking too much. You might even like find that like light exercise activity, like walking or maybe going to the gym, is going to feel extra good for you that day. So you're just going to have like this wonderful, and you're going to feel in your own power with the Emperor here. You're going to feel kind of like on top of your game, A level. You're going to feel like a leader too. I think I mentioned that before, but it's going to be also influencing people outside of your work environment. So people you run into on the day-to-day basis with this luck, you're going to kind of be bestowing on them like brilliant advice, and kind of like this brilliance is going to be flowing through you. So yeah, I think that's about it for the perfect day. Other things that I thought about initially with this pile with water and the luck symbol, and a lot of some of the other things going on in this deck with the water here too. You could be going to a lake, a river, or a beach, and kind of spending the day with friends in kind of like a relaxing element where you're like by the pool, or you go to the ocean with a few friends. There's a lot of spending time with water and cleansing with water. Honestly, with this perfect day, water is going to be like a really important element in this day, whether it's the shower you take in the morning, or swimming in a pool at night, or even drinking water throughout the day. Water might just actually taste really, really good this day and fuel this lucky endeavors that are coming your way. You're going to have a lot of serendipitous, fortuitous events happening on this day. And it's going to spin you out of this energy. This is kind of the day to spin you out of this King of Pentacles energy and kind of get you to like kind of focus on sharing the wealth a little bit more, or practicing the fact that you are a source of abundance. And you're going to kind of realize that. It might be interesting because maybe you were saving up money basically because you were nervous about this job opportunity, and maybe this perfect day you get this job, because I'm definitely seeing this kind of like leadership job position opening up for some of you. And yeah, I definitely see that this can like trigger you out of this kind of lack mindset, because I think you'll be making more money in this new position, or you'll be getting a pay raise in this new position. This might be a day where you find out you get a pay raise. But anyway, this is basically just going to be a very lucky day. Water's really important. You want to connect with water. You'll know this day's coming because you'll start to get a little more frugal, a little less spendthrifty with your finances. And you'll notice it's the perfect day at the beginning of the day, because at the very beginning of the day when you shower, it's like after you shower, you're going to realize like your weight has been lifted out of your mind. Like all those regrets, all those past things are going to be gone. So sorry for the lawnmower in this reading. I get my lawn mowed every Wednesday and yeah, I totally forgot, but I really wanted to film a reading today, so hopefully that's okay that the lawnmower is in the background. Anyway, so that's it for your reading. If you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, you subscribe to my channel. I post picket cards pretty frequently. With that said, we're gonna move on to group number 2 with the Azurite. Hey, group 2 with the Azurite. Okay, so we're gonna get into your reading about your perfect day in this springtime. So let me draw some cards for you. So we have the tarot cards here. And these are gonna represent, well, the whole reading I'm kind of reading holistically, so nothing really represents anything in particular. These cards are just gonna give me a little bit of extra information on your perfect day, the kind of the juice of it. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, let's draw. Then we have these making magic cards. This is gonna be kind of like the magical elements of the day, or what you can kind of expect on your perfect day. And this is kind of like the catalyst to the perfect day, or what the perfect day represents. In the last group, this represented by the hump that the perfect day, like how you got out of the hump of the perfect day. All right, let's make sure this is all looking good in the camera. So you guys can have some pretty things to look at, some pretty organizations of the cards. Okay, so let's flip over your stuff and see. Okay, so I already basically to the other group, I was telling them my lawn's getting mowed right now, but like I really wanted to do a reading because it's been forever and I finally felt inspired. Just so happens I felt inspired when the lawnmower was mowing my lawn, or the lawn person is mowing my lawn with their lawnmower. Anyway, so I'm gonna do the reading anyway. Hopefully the lawnmower is not too loud. I'm gonna try and talk a little bit louder than normal. So we'll see how this goes. But the main thing, we're trying to get your perfect day to see what is going to happen on your perfect day. Okay, so sorry about the lawnmower. Just like, it keeps getting louder and louder and louder. And I'm like determined to film this reading no matter what noise is happening in the background. I cannot wait to upload this video and just hear like an intense lawnmower. I'm just be like, oh my gosh. The torture. Okay, anyway, to the reading. So your perfect day is kind of like this great thing. Like this card like sums up it very, very well. It says, on target, follow your ideal life path. And it also says wishes coming true, rapid achievement of your dreams and wishes. This is a very interesting day because on one hand, during this day, you're going to be having like a lot of manifestations coming true. Like a few things are actually gonna line up. Like I'm sensing three different things that you've been manifesting are all gonna happen on like one day this springtime. But at the same time, you're also going to be discovering your true path in life and what you're meant to do in this lifetime, which is really great. Like this can also be for people, also if you feel like you already know your true path in life, this is gonna be something that's added on to that. Like, because we can have multiple true paths in life, we can do multiple things, have multiple passions, multiple like missions in life to like accomplish that we came here to do. You know, we didn't just come here in this lifetime to do one linear thing. You know, we came here to do a lot of different things. So if you do already feel like you know your life purpose, this is basically just saying that you're building more upon that life purpose that you already know. And it's going to be a day that awakens that in you. What we see here with the Magician in reverse, it's this element of the Magician upright has all these tools, right? To accomplish anything. He kind of has all the different elements in place. There's a balance in place. He knows himself pretty well. And he's ready to manifest, right? He like knows his desire. He knows he's going to go for it. And he's ready to manifest. What this is just saying is up until this perfect day, there's this whole element, the buildup basically to this perfect day. There's kind of this slow buildup of like not knowing what you want or feeling lost or not really knowing where you are in life or what you're, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of what you're searching for, what you're going for. It's kind of this element of like feeling like you just don't have it all figured out. You could be doing something that feels unfulfilling to you. You could be doing something that like you used to like, but maybe you don't like it anymore. And it's basically a search for newness or for opening up or developing, right? And so interestingly enough, we have that all happening on your perfect day and you're realizing these different things about your life path. Luckily, I actually get a little bit of information into kind of like the catalysts that are going to make you realize these things. And what your destiny is or what your ideal life path is or what your kind of mission is in life, basically. So this perfect day to start is going to start off kind of like any other like work day. Like we have the Eight of Pentacles, which is a very slow and steady kind of card. Kind of like repetition. So it's going to feel like this day's going to start off just like you're going to wake up and think like this day is just like, oh, this is just going to be another day. Like this is another day where I have to clock in at work. I go home, I cook dinner, I feed my cat, and then I go to bed. Sorry, that was very specific examples, but it's going to basically be like a very like routinized day, like you're used to having. You're going to feel like, oh, this is just another day. You're not going to come into the day with any expectations. You're just going to feel like just check another one off the list. You know, it's going to feel kind of like that. For some of you, this can also represent a day where you decide you feel like in the beginning of the day working with your hands, doing like craft projects or something of that nature. That's for a few of you, but for most of you, it's going to feel like this routine. Like you're kind of waking up and you're just going to go through the same routine for the day in and day out. I think around like the middle of the day or like maybe like mid-morning, early afternoon, you start to see certain things. Like once you go out into the world, you know, you kind of wake up with all this preparation that's going to be the same day when you're at your house. And then when you go out into the world, there's like, it's changed, like things are different. So first of all, you have this whole aspect with the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Wands, which first of all, they're two fives, which kind of represent a lot of change. They can represent instability, so be prepared for that. But at the same time, this is kind of the instability that is not going to create a not perfect day. It's the kind of instability that helps you learn things. So sometimes when you're like in a routine and everything's the same, this Magician card can feel kind of like a little overwhelming because you're like losing kind of like the lackluster to participate in life. It's kind of like the aspect of routine has just kind of bogged you down so much. So this is kind of shaking things up. You get this whole big shakeup and you realize your day is going to be filled with all these sorts of surprises, right? Remember what I said earlier with wishes coming true, rapid achievement of your dreams and wishes. I may not touch on this card so much in this reading, but just remember that manifestations will be coming true for you today. So there are really positive moments with that in this perfect day for you. But these elements are not so much what you're experiencing, but what you're seeing around you. I'm definitely getting the element of, I don't know if you know the story of Buddha when he came down from the palace. Okay, the story that I know of Buddha is he came down from the palace and he was like pampered his whole life and then he saw the suffering of the world. It's kind of similar to that. You're going to see kind of like some suffering around you or some conflict around you. And interestingly enough, these things are going to trigger an awakening in you, trigger something in your mind that like lights you up to follow your ideal life path. Something that I can recommend personally that I have been using lately actually is this stone called Charoite. I think it's spelled Charoite. And it's a purple stone that opens the crown chakra. And I think it also activates the soul star chakra and the earth chakra and maybe some of the chakras in the middle. But basically, it helps you interpret signs from the universe. And this is definitely going to be one of those days where you're going to be getting signs from the universe but it's gonna seem interesting because it's gonna be kind of like a lot of certain negative things swirling around you that kind of like trigger this kind of like problem-solving attitude. If you think of the magician upright, he has all these tools at his disposal, right? And people who use tools are trying to solve problems or build things. Think of this craftsman right here building these pentacles, right? This is going to be one of those things where you're focusing on kind of like, you're starting to see like, oh, this is something that I can help with. Or, oh my gosh, this is somewhere where I could invest my time and make a difference. You know, this is somewhere, and it's going to have to do with suffering and conflict on some level. And it also could be one of those things where you kind of see someone in a negative position relative to yourself and you realize like, whoa, I don't want to do that. Or, whoa, that's me. And like, I don't want to be there. You know, sometimes we see some people that could be maybe older than us, and we see kind of where they went in life. Like sometimes this happens with our parents or older relatives or grandparents, and you see what they went through in life and you just realize, I don't want that same path for myself. I don't want to follow those same exact footsteps. I want to forge a new path, a different thing, you know? I want to make like my way myself and make my own positive path. That's what the magician is all about, forging ahead with your own individual. It's the card's the number 1, with your own individual mindset and your own path forging ahead into the future. Interestingly enough, this is going to be a day of signs and manifestations coming true. So like I said, I'm not going to talk about this so much, but those manifestations will be coming true today. That's another sign you'll know it's your perfect day, because you'll be getting, you know, that check in the mail that you wanted, or you'll be getting that kind of like, I'm definitely seeing these as smaller manifestations, maybe one big one, but yeah, interestingly enough, that's going to be happening. But this follow your ideal life path, like I said earlier, is kind of the main theme. And that's what's going to be triggered by these two cards right here, by the suffering and the conflict. It's not really that you're going through suffering and conflict, it's that you're seeing it around yourself. Interestingly enough, this leads to the 7 of Cups. Kind of by your end of your day or throughout your day, you're going to start like being just bombarded with possibilities and choices and newness. You know, before where you were kind of stuck in this position of not really knowing what was, you know, kind of following that routine day by day, just kind of stuck in that dull kind of like pattern, right? What we have at the end of the day is you're just like bombarded with possibilities. Options, things to choose from. And it's going to be like you're following your ideal life path. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the reading, how it's not just one life path, but it's a whole bunch of different things that can stem off of it. You're basically going to be given like all of these different things to know like what it is you want to do. And it really, I can see this having an effect, not just on this day, but like months into the future of fueling you, like trying to like research these things or like look into these things, or like you're passionate about these things. I see a lot of learning. Going back to the 8 of Pentacles, that this card can also be about education. So this really is a theme for not just the beginning of the day, but multiple parts throughout the day. So I definitely see you kind of like coming into your own, and really like that's where the path unfolds for you. And really you can see all these multiple different paths, and you'll be able to take all of them at once, or one right now and one later. But I definitely think this day is going to be important because it's going to be a real inspirational day. It's going to be a day where you just feel inspired. If anything, think of this day as a day where you feel inspired, and you're inspired by your environment. If you're an artist or someone, could also be like finding a new way to like create art. Like maybe you're thinking of, you're just bored with your current style or your current thing you're doing, and then you have this whole paradigm shift that happens to you, and you have this like new way of understanding and this new way of thinking and building art and doing things. So that's just one example with the artist. This could happen with any kind of, I'm definitely seeing creative professions for sure. This happens a lot with like, with me, example, with tarot, when I feel inspired to like pick a cards or do something different in my life. But yeah, so I definitely see that this is going to be a really lovely day for you guys. It's really going to shake you out of that routine. It's going to make you kind of get rid of this little magician reversed imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing with my life? You know, I'm just mulling along, you know. It's kind of like this day is going to motivate you. The environment, you're going to have a back and forth with your environment and basically see kind of like where you don't want to be. It's going to be very obvious to you on this day. So I'm really looking forward, hopefully you're looking forward to this day. I'm looking forward to this day for you. So what a lovely reading. Yeah, so if you like that reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, you can subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards pretty frequently. With that said, we're going to move on to the last group, the Black Tourmaline, group number 3. Hello, group 3. So, last reading for the day with the Black Tourmaline. So let's get into it. This is going to be your perfect day this springtime. Group 3's perfect day this springtime. What will happen? What will be going on in their perfect day? Right away, some cards. We're going to draw the last one. Pull from right there. And then I have these Making Magic Oracle cards. I think the person who did them is called Priestess Moon. Anyway, these are going to talk about the magical instances that are happening throughout the day. Like, what kind of day is it going to be? What kind of magical attributes are affecting this day? Because, you know, every perfect day is affected by some kind of magical occurrence. And last but not least, this is going to be like kind of like the catalyst of your perfect day. It can also represent the general theme of your perfect day. All right, let's make sure all of this stuff is in the camera. I mean, it's all in the camera, but I'm trying to just make it look nice. Okay, let's flip these over. Prince of Pentacles, okay. Perseverance. Oh, interesting, and the Prince of Pentacles. Abracadabra with wings. And Knight of Swords. Interesting, this card came out in group 1, this card came out in group 2. Interesting. Hold on, I'm gonna be right back. It's getting hot in my house, so I'm gonna turn on the air. Okay, so we got your perfect day. So a lot of these perfect days have been catalysts for like a lot of change for like the future. Like after the perfect day, it kind of catalyzes some kind of like more of a long-term change. So I think this is also the case for this pile. But let's get into your catalyst card. So Prince of Pentacles, first of all, in reverse, just represents the fact that there's this lack of kind of sticking to a routine. And it's specifically with your social life and your alone time. It's almost as if like you oscillate between these two, and that's what you've been doing for the most part. You'll have like a really busy, hectic day where like a lot of people need you and want your attention. You know, I definitely see you're a very successful person already. When you are social, it's almost as if like you kind of move very well in the world, but you just get tired of it and you kind of want your isolation, you want your alone time, you want to kind of relax in your own space. But then you start to wonder, like, what are those people in my life doing? How can I help them? Or you start to worry about the people in your life, you know, and you kind of go back to the social mindset. I see that you definitely enjoy both, but there's almost a lack of balance between the two. Like sometimes when you're alone, you're bored, and sometimes when you're with people, you're almost overstimulated. And it's because of the Prince of Pentacles, what we see here, the reason for this is because there's kind of like a lack of routine or a lack of a schedule, right? Interestingly enough, you're feeling kind of worn down by these two roles. Like when you're alone, you're starting to feel tired and worn down. And when you're with people, you're starting to feel tired and worn down. And that's kind of what this Prince of Pentacles is referring to, is kind of like a lack of a routine or a schedule. So kind of like, it's kind of like thinking about your social and alone time on like an efficiency level. So interestingly enough, we have perseverance, the motivation to keep going despite the odds. And that kind of correlates pretty nicely with the Prince of Pentacles. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Prince of Pentacles is the Knight of Pentacles in the typical tarot. And so this perseverance, interestingly enough, you wake up with the day with like gusto to get things done. Kind of like your social activities and your introverted activities, you're like ready to tackle both of them with like gusto. So you know what you kind of want to accomplish throughout the day. It's kind of like before kind of like this schedule gets put into place, you're kind of like realizing this perfect day, you have like the motivation to be alone and to be with people. So you'll notice that. You'll notice maybe if you start your morning off alone, you'll notice that you start to feel like, wow, I can really achieve a lot today. And then when you go out with people, you start to realize like, you know what, like I'm enjoying this social interaction and I can get some alone time later. You're realizing you have the other one in reserve. It's kind of like this gratitude thing. Definitely with the Five of Wands, and I think too with it progressing into the Six of Wands, there is going to be a little bit of transition with your skills and abilities. So not only are you going to be balancing out on this perfect day your social and your introverted lives, you're going to be advancing in some kind of skill or ability that you've been working on. Along with that, interestingly enough, so this is going to be some kind of like a breakthrough. You know, it's going to be a small breakthrough because we're only moving from a 5 to a 6. But it's definitely going to feel like a stabilization force is coming your way with some kind of ability of yours. You're going to have a little bit more confidence in something that you work with. I used the artist example in the last pile. So if you're an artist and you're like you like to paint, right? Like maybe you gain a little bit more confidence in one of your painting techniques that you're doing, you know, and it's like, whoa, I get it. I've mastered that. I know how to do that now. Like it just clicks. You'll have a thing that just clicks. Kind of like a mini enlightenment. And with abracadabra with wings, fantastic good fortune and lucky chances. That's going to be another big thing on this day. So lucky chances is going to be interesting because like little things are going to pop up that are going to be presenting you with opportunities, right? And you might be surprised. You might get more than one during this day, but you're definitely going to have one. An opportunity will present itself and it will just seem like, wow, I can't believe this opportunity came into my life. Like this is exactly what I kind of needed. This is what I wanted, you know? And specifically too, this day is very focused around this whole, your fame and accomplishment and also your soul searching and ability to go within and kind of have your own alone time. So interestingly enough, this chance that comes along is gonna like seem like the perfect way to balance these two opposites, right? I definitely see that, I think if I were you, I would take this chance on this perfect day. So this could be anything from like a new job opportunity, maybe, or like a new friend could come along that kind of like has both of these sides themselves. They have a little bit of their extroverted and introverted sides. They don't mind spending time in one or other worlds. It could be the fact that you get someone who's coming into your life that kind of is not as demanding for your time and attention and energy. And so you're able to, kind of prioritize your extroverted and introverted sides of yourself. I'm also seeing with the Knight of Swords on this day, you're going to be very intellectually quick with things, intellectually quick with arguments. There's going to be a lot of good conversational banter throughout the day. You're going to be on top of it, one-upping your game. So, you know those conversations where other people almost try to dominate the conversation and then you're left in the back seat feeling like, whoa, like now I'm just kind of a slave to this small talk. This is going to be for a lot of introverts. But this could apply to extroverts too, dealing with people who are unresponsive to what they're saying. So this could be on both ends of the spectrum. And with you, I definitely see that you probably experience both these ends of the spectrum. But basically, conversation is going to work like effortlessly in this situation with the Knight of Swords. We have these wings which represent the messenger, and I'm just thinking of Mercury, and Mercury is the planet, I think, of communication. Also represented, it's the planet for Gemini too, and that's all about communication. So you're just going to have the communicative pathways on this day are going to be really good. This is going to be the perfect day. And I definitely see with this perseverance, this is kind of the day to like, where the motivation's up to like take care of the things that have kind of been falling behind. Like with the communication going well, this is going to be a good day to be diplomatic. This is also with the Knight of Swords. This does indicate like a forceful communication. So this could indicate times where it might be the perfect day to stand up for yourself and still be respected. So sometimes when we stand up for ourselves, people don't kind of take it that well and they kind of just think we're like being too aggressive. So this is a time to kind of stand a little bit firmer in your beliefs and your values and communicate with that authority. You know, let there be an exchange of ideas, but still maintain your own inner authority in this situation. I definitely see right here with this conflict card with the Five of Wands that this could be an element that you're transitioning to towards the end of the day. With the Five of Wands just kind of representing like feeling like you're kind of like always like bickering or battling with different people. This is really representing like being like one up on the arguments, basically, because you're so mentally with it today. You're just quick with it. With these wings here too, is another sign of that Mercury, that planet with Mercury. Your perfect day might happen when Mercury is aligned with another planet, or Mercury is aligned with kind of like a sign in your chart coming up. Like if Mercury is aligned with like your, if it's aligned with like your sun sign or your, your rising sign or your moon sign, if Mercury's in that sign, you might have a day like this. But yeah, and then back to this situation because with this Prince of Pentacles, Prince of Pentacles is all about routine, and it is also about effort with the perseverance. So this is kind of marrying two concepts. It's the concept of effort and kind of like putting in that extra energy, but it's also balanced out by the fact that like the Prince of Pentacles comes from a routine, right? But this is not, in no way am I saying to build a routine first so you can have the effort. This is really a situation of pushing with the effort, and then the routine will follow. The routine's gonna naturally fall into place after this day, right? Also, interestingly enough, back to this communication thing, it's really sticking out to me, this communication. With all these letters, abracadabra, there's an element that like you could also on this perfect day that you can kind of like manifest certain things with your words. So basically what you're speaking and what you're saying, not only will you be communicating with others on this perfect day, but you'll be kind of influencing them and influencing yourself. People will kind of be listening to your ideas more carefully. It's almost like they'll understand them or kind of get what you're saying or think you're smart or interesting or intriguing. Your intelligence is really going to be prized on this day. And those words might have a deeper impact and a more longer term impact than you realize. But yeah, this day is going to open up those kinds of abilities for you. I definitely see it catalyzing this kind of like new focus on between soul searching and popularity that you're dealing with, kind of the mix between the two, and kind of getting the perseverance to work through those things. And I also definitely see your communication being on point during this perfect day too. So that was your perfect day, group 3, if you picked the black tourmaline. If you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, subscribe to my channel. I post pick cards like this pretty frequently. And with that said, that was the last reading for today, and it was great reading for you guys. I really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've been back and reading in the reading seat, the reading driver's seat, right? That's a thing. That's a saying to say. Anyway, so lovely reading for you. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Have a good day. See ya.